Hello, friends and supporters of Maine's craft beer, wine, and spirits producers. Welcome to another virtual tour presented by the Maine Brew Bus. My name is Don Littlefield, and I will be your guide today on the second time that we are trying something we're calling open lines. So this is kind of an open call-in sort of thing. We have no scheduled guests, but we're eager to speak to folks that are affiliated with either the craft alcohol industry, perhaps a restaurant owner, perhaps another company that is impacted by the changes that have happened over the past nearly 2 months now. We'd love to talk to you. All you have to do is request to join the live stream, the broadcast, and if it's appropriate, I'll approve you. After that, I'll start picking on people that I see have joined. So some folks that have joined: River City Food Tours, Beshroom 76, hello to you. Karen 0768, Brian Tarbell, Jay Denham, that's John Denham, hello sir, good to see you as well, Lieutenant. Greg Drinks Beer has joined, and a few other folks as well. Helping us behind the scenes, a person who often has a lot of answers, is Greg Klein, and Greg is producing this show today. I see somebody has joined here. Drink Portland Me. That's our friend Alan. Alan is a person who is a guide for the Maine Brew Bus. He also runs his own historical-based walking tours that are also drinking tours here in Portland. And he has a very interesting other job where he has a tour company in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The other thing I do want to mention, as I do every single time, is CarHop is a supporter of our virtual tours. And CarHop has over 40 different places that you can order and receive craft alcohol from. So that could be breweries, that could be wineries, it could be distilleries, but it's also retail stores, a number of different retail stores that are focused on craft beer, spirits, wines, different places. So we encourage you to check them out at carhopme.com. And if you use promo code BREWBUS, all one word, you'll save 50% off of your delivery fee, which is a pretty good deal. And they'll deliver it right to your home at a time that makes sense for you. That's carhopme.com. So again, this is an open lines version of our virtual brewery tour. This is the 19th virtual tour that we've done, where we've talked with a number of different brewery owners around the state. And we've also done about a week ago, we did a version of this, and we talked to a brewery owner and a friend of ours who works for the Maine Office of Tourism to get some perspective. So it's kind of fun to chat with people that have different aspects and different impacts in different ways. So that's what we're doing here with Open Line. So if you'd like to be featured, if you'd like to chat with us, if you've got the time and the interest, just go ahead and click join the Maine Brew Bus broadcast, and I'll connect you in. Let's say hi to a few more folks. Victoria Fury has joined. Super Dave 2411, Scott McConnell, and the Man in White. The Man in White has joined. So this person was a mystery to me for a long time. And I have to say, now that I've seen the face of the Man in White on his social media, I still don't know who that person is, but I feel like I know a lot about him, and he knows a lot about the industry here in New England. So hello to you, sir. It's good to see you. At this point, let's give it Klein, who has been working behind the scenes to produce these virtual tours, as well as to produce podcasts, good sounding podcasts for us, which is great. So we'll have Greg join us here in a second. IKA Ply says or LKA Ply says please record these and post them later. We actually do that. We post those at themainbrewbus.com in our virtual tours page. We have all but one there, and that's because I forgot to record the talk that we had last week with Jamie Blood of Corner Point Brewing Company, and Greg's mad at me for that, right, Greg?
I didn't sleep last night because I was fuming over it, Don.
Okay, I know. It was an honest mistake, and basically you have to record it off of Instagram within 24 hours, or it goes away. And before you tell me you can just download these and not lose them, we run a little bit longer than the typical Instagram Live, so we don't have the option to download them to our phones or anything like that. So they have to be replayed in real time. And we then have to remember to actually do that. So that's what I missed last week. So anyway, all the other ones are there at themainbrewbus.com. Greg, how are you today?
I'm good. Just it's a Monday and kind of feels like a Monday, but doing well.
Nice.
Just staying alert.
Well, you were up pretty early this morning. So what were you doing early at about 8 o'clock this morning?
Hold on, I was being another set of eyes and ears for you with your production help for the Cheers from Maine program that you've been working on for the past, I guess, couple of months now.
Yeah, Cheers for Maine, which is on News Center Maine statewide. We have a new episode that will be airing this coming Saturday. And as you can hear, we were doing recordings of, or as you just heard, we're doing recordings of interviews today. In fact, one just wrapped up about a half an hour ago with Ned White from New England Distilling. So I can tell you guys all here first. Here's the lineup. So we're going to be talking with businesses that are either brand new or have had their expansion plans drastically changed as a result of the current crisis going on. So we're going to start with Maine's newest brewery, which is Trinken Brewing in West Bath. They opened up on March 14th, and a couple of days later, they closed their taproom to the public. We'll be talking with Blaze Brewing Company, which is planning to open their new Biddeford facility. They were planning to do that in March, then in April, and now they're waiting for the time that they can do that, but they've got it all ready to go. So we're all eager for that. We'll be talking with, as I mentioned, Ned White from New England Distilling about how he has pivoted his plans towards making hand sanitizer for hospitals and working with other distilleries and breweries around the state to produce hand sanitizer for medical use as well as for individual use. And we'll be talking with Michael Rankin from Definitive Brewing Company, which is in Portland. They have announced plans to open a tap room in Kittery, so down in the very extreme southern part of the state. So we interviewed him and found out a little bit more about why Kittery and when that might be happening a little bit later this year. So that was pretty interesting. And Greg, you helped out. So what did you learn in the discussion this morning?
Well, it's good to see people are still moving forward, and it's nice to hear the stories behind the front facing stores and restaurants that we see. It's great to know the stories of how they get there. And I think that the Cheers for Maine productions that you've been putting together in the show so far really show a nice insight, and especially how it's transitioning now into this bizarre time with COVID-19, how it's still going through. And, it's really nice to see people are transitioning. And it's great that you're pushing forward with the show and it's still going, considering the show is so based on actual in-person visits and interviews that you found a way around it, and that it's working out really well. So I'm excited to see the next installment of Cheers for Maine for sure.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Yeah, it's been interesting. It is focused. It's almost a travel show to go to different breweries, and when you can't travel, we have to go to the different breweries in different ways. And we've done that through online interviews, a lot of video and pictures that have been taken. And this week I stood in a basically empty parking lot to talk about our entire show, which was kind of fun. And so it's interesting. So that's Cheers from Maine. A brand new episode will be airing this Saturday night on News Center Maine statewide. That's Channel 6 here in Portland, Channel 2 in Bangor. And then, don't fret, it'll be available online 2 days later. If you don't get the NBC affiliate in the state of Maine, or you don't live in the state of Maine, it'll be available online, and it'll be available on our website as well as mainlifemedia.com. What else have you done today, Greg?
Actually, so I've been messing around a lot. I've got some free time, so it might be an odd thing to say. I've been building acoustical absorption panels or acoustical panels for a room I have that I'm doing a lot more recording and podcasting in. So I've been doing that. I made a trip to Lowe's, got a whole bundle of rock wool and some plywood, not plywood, but 1x pine, and built some panels. So that was kind of fun, and they worked great. So that's what I've been up to. Yeah.
Well, he's obviously talking about Night Rider Years. You can follow them on Instagram at Night Rider Years. They've joined the broadcast as well, so we'll say hello to them. What is this Night Rider podcast that you do?
Oh, my friend Dave and I have been doing this podcast now for about 4 years total. We started off with MacGyver, so we went through all 7 seasons of MacGyver, and now we're on 3rd season of Night Rider, which has been fun. It's great to revisit these shows and have our own take on them and actually make it through all of it. So it's a good time. And Secret, we're probably going to do Airwolf next. So there you go.
Whoa, you heard it here first. Is that Jan Michael Vincent? Is that?
Yes, indeed. And Ernest Borgnine. Oh, it's going to be great.
That sounds wonderful. You're watching a virtual tour with the Maine Brew Bus, and yes, we're talking about 1980s television shows, but we're talking with Greg Klein, who is the group sales coordinator of the Maine Brew Bus. We want to say hi to Kathy Fura, who I'm not sure has missed one. That would be Victoria's mother. MC in Maine, I believe I know who that is. I think that is my friend Marianne, so hello to you. Topsail Farm, Perfecto, Lunarly Dia, hello to all of you. And T. Lewis _NH, who has been aboard for a lot of these as well. So if Lone Pine Tasting Rooms is interested in talking a little bit about what's going on, just give me a thumbs up, and I will find you, and I will connect you. I'll dump Greg temporarily, and we'll talk with you. But in the meantime, we were chatting a little bit, you and I, about different things going on, and you've been tasting your way through some of Geary's beer. Last week you talked about the new one called Fortnight, which I did not realize is a benefit beer. So they're contributing money from each beer sold to a couple of projects, among them Good Shepherd Food Bank. So I apologize, I didn't catch that last week when we talked about that.
I should mention that. I thought about it and I forgot after I was talking about it. But yeah, I believe they're donating every case, at least they're donating $3 or $4 to the Good Shepherd Food Bank, which is great. And I bought a case, so it's gone.
You'll have to get more. I did notice that Geary Brewing is also doing a virtual tasting, so they've got somebody that they've sent some beer to who's going to taste through the new welcome pack, I think is what it's called. Do you know anything about that? The welcome pack?
I don't. I have not looked into that yet, but I get a lot of my information. It's great from Instagram. A lot of breweries are posting what they're doing and their hours and new things that are coming up. So that's how I've been getting a lot of my information. And a lot of these deals you can find, they get delivered straight to your eyes.
It's amazing.
It's great. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that's new today is the state has decided to again to redefine the word beverage. I don't know if you've caught this news or not. It now sounds like a setup, but the state has decided that with certain parameters met, that restaurants can serve to-go cocktails. So, excuse me. So that means they'll have to have sealed containers. They'll have to have labels that clearly identify the ingredients, and obviously you have to be 21 and all that stuff. You also have to buy a food item from that restaurant. So within a day or two, I suspect you'll see some restaurants in the state that will have options for to-go cocktails that you'll be able to enjoy in your very own home. And I'm not talking kits, like pre-made cocktails. So what do you think about that idea, Greg?
I think that's really interesting. And I thought, I don't know if it's widespread, but there were some companies that were creating pre-made cocktails in cans, which you could buy, like margaritas and that sort of thing. That would be that might be a whole new business for the mobile canning world, but it might not be practicable to make, I don't know, 3,000 gallons of margarita on a Friday afternoon and try to can it all up. But I think that's really interesting.
We'll see some restaurants that will be able to use what like a home brewer might use, like a crown cap on a champagne style bottle, or they might be able to use some sealed plastic containers. So again, these are not for long-term storage; they're designed for fairly quick consumption, I would say. So I see a lot of different bartenders that I'm affiliated with that are talking about different ways to do that. But the sealed container is the most interesting part, and I think we'll see a few versions of that. So what that means is like a plastic quart container is not a sealed container. It needs to be totally sealed, either mechanically or I guess exclusively mechanically. I don't think magic's going to count here.
I haven't come across any kind of magic beverage sealing device, but it makes me think. I mean, with a bottle capper, you can cap reusable bottles and then bring the bottles back. So that's a possibility. I can see that. That would be an interesting route to go.
And then the other redefinition or I guess interpretation of beverage late last week was that restaurants that have draft beer could also sell their draft beer in to-go containers along with a food order. And that one is a little looser. I don't think it needs to be a mechanically sealed vessel. So that does mean that you could use, mason jars or something like that. And there are a handful of restaurants that are using that. But of course, the beer that they have now is beer that they bought in March. So just take that under advisement that it has been there for a little bit. But for some beers, that's absolutely fantastic. And there's probably some value to be had as well.
Definitely.
All right, you're watching a virtual tour with the Maine Brew Bus, and it's currently featuring Greg Klein. But much like you would with a dunk tank, you can have him removed off this pedestal by just dunk tanks, you go down, actually, you just disappear. If you have a couple of minutes to chat with us about yes, perfect. A couple of minutes to chat about what's happening with your business. If you're a brewery, a winery, a distillery, or an affiliated business like a restaurant, a bar that kind of depends on the same industry, we'd love you. All you have to do is give me a thumbs up, and I will connect you to our. There's a little thumbs up thing on the screen, and I'll connect you to our discussion here. And Greg will disappear. If you'd rather not chat and just want to pose a question, a comment, or maybe some good news that you've had about maybe some new beer, wine, or spirits that you've found during this time period, just put that in the comments section in the bottom left, and Mr. Greg Klein will be able to get that information to me, and we'll be able to ask about the thing that he just sent me, apparently. That seems kind of weird. We want to say hi to Unibrew, Spaghetts, and William Culp, who have all joined us as well. Thanks for watching. I'm Don from the Maine Brew Bus, and that's Greg down there. So, Greg, what else do you think about May's on the doorstep here? What do you think May's going to look like for us? Mainers, not specifically the Maine Brew Bus, but
right. Well, I just say off the bat, I think we're in a lucky place that even with social distancing and all of that, we have less people, and it's still not as crowded. So I mean, we can go outside, we can go for walks and all that stuff. So it's a lot. It's a different experience than I think a lot of other places are having, especially in the cities. Looking forward to May. It's hard to tell. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on our CDC and our governor's website to see if any new information is coming out, and nothing has changed yet. But I believe that there's going to be some statement in the next couple of days regarding what the next steps are going to be. But I mean, the weather's getting nicer, so there's that to look forward to. At least we're not cooped up inside in freezing weather. We'll have the ability to get out. So I'm not sure what the next couple of weeks is going to look like, but I'm optimistic that things will get a little bit better and people are going to slowly start adjusting to whatever the next phase of this situation is going to be.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm glad it's warm weather. They just before we went live here on Instagram, we had 3 maintenance people that came into my apartment to shut off my heat, just because of the calendar. Like, this is what they do; they transition from heat to air conditioning, and hey, might as well do that after it snowed in some parts of the state. But
no,
nothing wrong with that.
It's funny because you wake up and it's the end of May, things are looking good. You can see the buds starting to come out on the trees. But last night it was still like 35 degrees and the heat's running in my house. So it's one of those things. And I know that all of a sudden the switch is going to flip and it's going to be 80 and it's going to be beautiful. But there's going to be no transition. It's just going to go from this kind of cold and wet to nice summer in Maine. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. Earlier today, I was on a call with some of the licensees for a company called Brews Cruise, which is a brewery tour company that we acquired in early March with perfect timing. And one of those licensees is in Montana, and Montana is one of the very first states that's going to be opening up as early as perhaps this weekend, certain aspects of it. And so we discussed what Montana looks like and then compared it against what some other states look like. So I won't name some of the other states, but one state in particular says, hey, it's going to be a while before restaurants and bars will be able to open. And some bars have decided they're not going to wait and they're going to open anyway. And the town that these bars are in have said, well, we're not going to force you to stay closed. We're going to let you do what you want to do, which is a very interesting strategy that could easily backfire, I suppose. And then another state says, well, what's really interesting is they've separated out breweries away from restaurants. So restaurants are able to open up in kind of the phase 1, which might be as soon as early May. And then breweries, tap rooms, don't actually get to open up until phase 4, which could be mid-June, which is kind of fascinating. So different states are handling this in different ways, which is fair. It needs to be done that way. And the results are going to be different as well. So, all right, I see a couple of folks. I'm going to put a pitch out here. So Heinz Brothers, we know a little bit about you because of one of our earlier Brew Bus tours. This is an open line, so we're willing to talk to anybody in the industry. I'd love to get your perspective as well. So just give me a thumbs up if you're willing to do that. I also see Vacationland Distributors who have joined. And if you're willing to talk a little bit about what's happening in the distributor world, give me a thumbs up and I'll connect you. And we'll dump Greg and we'll chat for a little bit. We've got about 10 minutes remaining on our virtual tour. And we'd love to talk to either one of those folks from the industry if you've got the time to chat with us for about 10 minutes. Greg, I see no thumbs up, so you're still up on the chair there.
That's okay. This chair is pretty comfortable, and I can keep answering questions and going back and forth. So it's great to talk to somebody who's not in the house. I've been talking to the cats a lot, but they don't talk back. They just whine for food. So that doesn't work out so well.
It doesn't always work out, but and my cat needed to be fed just before we went on because otherwise it'd be meowing in the background. So.
Well, it was good. I saw you from a distance the other day when you came up and picked up some equipment for your Cheers from Maine adventure. So that was nice to talk to you and Lindsay for a little bit. But yeah, we don't get many visitors, unfortunately.
we felt the same way. We've seen ourselves and not too many other people. And even though we live in Portland, we're not doing much other than occasional bike rides, and in that case, we're not talking to anybody. We're just trying to get away from them. Some of the trails are definitely crowded, and so we're just using surface streets to kind of avoid people, and just trying to get in and get out, and hopefully nothing happens. So that's the plan. But yeah, it was really good to see you and Christy, and thanks for the use of the gear. It sounded wonderful. So you'll see that in the intro for Cheers from Maine. Greg, I got a thumbs up, Greg.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk with Vacationland Distributors for a little bit, and we'll be back with Greg as we wrap up. So thanks, Greg. All right, so we'll be chatting with Vacationland Distributors. I think this might be Jim. We'll see. It is Mr. Jim.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. My hair is ridiculous, but hey, that's that quarantine haircut.
This is why I changed to a black backdrop. You can't really tell, except it's starting to show a little grayer than normal. It's a little longer now, but
that's all right.
How are you doing? This is Jim O'Brien. He's the founder of Vacationland Distributors, which is a distributor of beer and wine and some other great products. It was one of the first to be kind of independent of some of the rules that traditional distributors have operated under, self-imposed rules, of course. And Jim, you've had a really good success with this. And this has been, let's see if I can do a timeline here. You must be close to 6 years, 5.5 years now?
Yeah, 6. We just hit 6 on St. Patty's Day.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we found it on St. Patty's Day accidentally, and it seems to work for us. So
I guess so.
Yeah.
So I heard you speak with Ben Moore, Active Beer Geek, last week, and so I got a little insight of some of the stuff that's been going on. But let's just ask some basic questions. What is the most surprising thing of this time period to you?
Most surprising is people are still buying a lot of beer, man.
Yeah.
It's tough for us. Roughly half of our customers are closed right now, effectively. It's been cool to see that entrepreneurial spirit, people coming online with different ways to still move some entrees and sell some beer. But but no, I mean, I've been surprised. We are, from a volume perspective, we are only down 2% from 2019. That's with basically no kegs leaving the door in the month of March and April, really well, halfway through March and April.
Did that stress your distribution network at all to be, shifting to more package?
At the beginning, we were all trying to figure out, like, okay, what's going to happen here? And, we are not a brewery, so we don't get to make those first-hand decisions. All we can do is report back as quickly and as clearly as possible to say, like, hey, here's what we're seeing. And, what made it a lot easier to deal with was that not only were we weren't the only distributor that they were working with in a lot of cases that were saying the same thing, but we were all seeing the same thing. So, that made it easier, I guess. It's still not fun, but our partners have been solid. They're like, okay, cool, everything in cans, let's do it. So,
well, one of the benefits, I would say, of this is that some companies have been able to expand their distribution profile. So I see, for example, in Massachusetts, people getting all giddy because they're able to see some Vermont brands they haven't ever seen. Is Maine seeing some?
You can say Heady.
I could say Heady. I could say Heady. But is Maine seeing any products that we traditionally don't see at this time of year?
Yeah. Wow. Do I look red? No, it's I just got back from Hannaford, so it's just
that will do it.
The glow of leaving my house. So, like last week, we got cans from Aslan for the first time,
wow.
Which is kind of crazy. They were we were looking to get cans from them starting, towards the end of the summer, but their plan has sort of shifted a little bit. There's we've got some Equilibrium coming we don't see very often. We had some Rad Hoof-Hearted stuff come through that doesn't often leave Ohio.
Yeah.
So that's, we've been pretty lucky so far. We're always trying to get, if you know of anything neat and cool you want to see, now's the time to ask, because there's some breweries that have a lot of stainless to pay for.
Yeah, that's true, and they've got to get some products sold. So, one of the things to look for is if a brewery has occasionally done a drop in a state, you occasionally, once in a while, see a thing. You might see it a little bit more often. I think Aslan would fall in that category because occasionally we've seen some draft, but cans for sure I've never seen at all.
Neither have I. And this is the bummer working from home. I didn't even I wasn't even in the warehouse long enough to try anything. So I'm told they were very good beers.
I'm sure they were. Is this something that you are able to ask for, or are you just being told at this point that this is what I've got and this is what I'm sending you?
Yeah, I mean, it's, yes, it is something that we can ask for. We've reached out to people that we've had, very infrequent drops from in the past to see if they have interest in moving a couple units. And asked some places that we don't have any relationship with. Just, it's hard for me. It's hard for us trying to be. We don't want to come across like we're trying to, go for a cash grab. But it's more like, hey, we understand that we all have to think pretty creatively. If we can be helpful and sell a couple hundred cases, that would help move the needle at all. Then we'd love to help. So.
What about product that maybe went out in draft that is expired? How are you handling getting that product back covered? Is that really happening? Yeah.
So the one thing that hasn't changed is that no one in the system wants anybody to be drinking bad beer. So we have mechanisms that we not only do we track age, what beer age is at accounts, but we know how to bring it back and get it out of the rotation. What has changed really is now breweries, right now have a disposal method or an option available to them through converting beer into hand sanitizer that they didn't have before, they hadn't thought about before. So if anything, it's possible for the breweries to actually make a little money on some of the beer they normally just dump down the drain.
Yeah. What would May typically look like for you? Because I suspect that typically it would be trying to service a lot of seasonal accounts that are getting ready to reopen. And what does May look like for you this year?
I guess we'll talk at the end of May. I don't know what it's going to look like. But
fair.
You're right. That's about halfway through April to the beginning of May. Some stores that have been dormant, some bars, restaurants that have been quiet, they come back online. They start ordering, or they want to see what you got that's new. We had to cancel our trade show where we, demo a whole bunch of new stuff. Invite everybody with a liquor license over to see what we've been up to. So we haven't been able to do that yet. I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe we'll do it mid-season. I don't know. But
Yeah.
we're cautiously optimistic.
I think we're all cautiously optimistic, and there are some indications that we might have some decent summer traffic, but we also want it to be safe and healthy, and we want to not have a sudden shutdown either of a month or two in the middle of summer. So that's the last thing we want.
No, it's not going to help anybody if we get all of our guests sick right at the beginning and then they go away.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yep.
What's the best way, in your opinion, for people to support breweries of all types? Is it simply to just find and to buy the product? Is there more to it than that?
Buy the product. Post about drinking the product. If you were a craft beer fan before, now's the time to be fervent about it. These are small operations run by people that, whose kids go to school the same place yours do, kind of thing. Like, these are real people behind these brands. Go out and support them because you want them to be there for you when this is all done, and you can go back to the tasting room. But everything helps. Whether it's going to the brewery or for a curbside pickup, or having one of the delivering breweries swing by your house, to grabbing a beer at a retailer. Everybody's appreciative of whatever anybody can do right now.
No, that's absolutely true. It's well said. And I appreciate having a few minutes with you to check in with Vacationland Distributors and to see the lay of the land from your perspective. So appreciate
Anytime,
you being willing to jump on. Yeah.
No worries.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a good one, and thanks for keeping us all supplied with the liquids that we desire. So.
We do what we can, sir. Cheers.
All right, Jim. Talk to you soon. All right, that was Jim O'Brien from Vacationland Distributors, and interesting perspective there to find out about how because of the increase in packaged beer in cans and occasionally in bottles, more product is coming into the state than we typically would be seeing, and it's coming from different places. So I really appreciate Jim hopping on to give us that perspective and to help us to understand how that's happening. Because he's right. We're buying more beer, we're buying more in a retail environment, and often buying from local breweries. And even last night, I was able to buy some canned product from my local local restaurant, along with my pizza. So it's really interesting times with new methods to get people connected to craft beer and in new ways. And Greg, I thought we were going to have you join us here.
I'm here.
Oh, your face is just stationary for me. I don't know about anybody else, but
it's funny. Sometimes I can do ventriloquist work, and I'm actually moving and speaking right now.
I had no idea. I thought you were just into the art of the mime. I didn't know you were also into the art of the ventriloquist. So.
Now, every now and then, digitally, this stuff. It works great 99% of the time. And then there's that one little bit where it really has to work, where it just doesn't. But that's okay. But it was great, talking to your point about how you can still order beer and get that. Christy went out recently, ordered some Brewery Extrava ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
Went down, picked it up. Joe had it ready for her. Took off, and then after that, I think she'd ordered some 3 of Strong. We got some what is it? The white water.
Oh yeah.
So we have that. Yeah, just it's really simple. All these breweries and distilleries that are making it very easy to still get their product if you put a little research in to see what they're doing. It's easy enough to go get it yourself.
Yeah,
which is great.
That's a really good point, because although they probably prefer you to pre-order, there's also many of the breweries will allow you to just drive up and place an order with them curbside. Mm-hmm. So you don't, if you don't think about it ahead of time, you're able to go and just say, hey, I'd like to get some beer. That would be great. They'd be happy to sell that to you. And
it's been good. The driving up might take a little bit longer if you show up unannounced, but everyone's really accommodating because they still want you to have their product. So
yeah,
if you want something, go out and figure out how to get it because it's still there.
That's right. Well, that's a good message, and we'll close on that. So this has been a virtual tour from the Maine Brew Bus. This is an open lines edition where you just never know what you're going to get. And in this case, we had a nice chat with Greg Klein, who's the group sales coordinator for the Maine Brew Bus. We talked a little bit about Cheers for Maine, a TV show, and then we talked to Jim O'Brien from Vacationland Distributors. If you enjoyed this conversation or any of the conversations that we've done over the past several weeks, you can support us by throwing a tip in the virtual tip bucket, which is on the actual website called www.themainbrewbus.com. And there you'll see a section for virtual tours. And you can throw a little bit in there if you had a good experience with this. It's never expected, always appreciated, and it helps us to keep going. Our thanks to Mr. Greg Klein, who's been producing and appearing on today's virtual tour. If you're an owner of a Maine brewery, winery, restaurant, bar, club, distillery, and would like to be featured on a scheduled virtual tour, just go to our website and go to the virtual tours page. You can put in a little request, a booking request down at the bottom, and we'll get you on the next program. Any final thoughts, Greg?
No, keep drinking local, and support everybody because it really does trickle everywhere. So make that purchase. Go get that case. Do what you got to do. Keep enjoying life.
That's right. The mission is clear. Just get it done.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, on behalf of the Maine Brew Bus and everybody,